Hi you guys, and welcome back to my study abroad vlog channel. I hope you liked the first video even if it was a little weird, and I hope that you like this next one, which I've decided is going to be about my progress and lack thereof in adjusting to the Spanish culture. So I guess I'll start with the good. The good things are that my host family, as I already alluded to in the first video, has been amazing so far. My host mom, seeing how blanquita I am, has given me self-bronzing tips, including the brand name, where to buy it, and how to apply it, because I'm so clearly not tan or trying to be. So there's that. Other good things is that they all watch Game of Thrones, or as they call it here, literally Juego de Tronos. And so we definitely have a point of connection when all else fails, or if there's an awkward silence, it's always just like, oh, should we talk about Game of Thrones? So that's good. And they're like equally obsessed, as my host mom said, they're super fans, like super fans, which is cute. And they don't even wait for it to come out. So in Spain, everybody dubs everything. Every movie they see is totally dubbed over in Spanish. But for Game of Thrones, since it's a show, they can either watch it the day it comes out, or they can wait a week for it to be dubbed, and they don't even wait. That's how much they love it. So respect that they watch in English, and they all aren't exactly fluent in English, plus those accents in Game of Thrones are freaking confusing, so good for them. The last thing that has been going super well is my love affair with Morty. So he and I are continuing to be super tight. It's going even better because I recently learned that his bottom two teeth and his tongue, like, they don't fit they don't fit in his mouth, so he's always just sitting there like, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen a pug do that, but it's the cutest freaking thing. So the less good, or what we'll say diplomatically, the different things include, okay, the first thing I'll say, I mentioned too in the first video, PDA. Apparently, my program director told me that people here, and this is true, especially college students, they all live at home, so they live with their parents until they're like 25, 26. So I guess since they don't feel like making out in front of their parents, they just take to the streets. It's definitely even more prevalent than I even realized that first day. One thing that's harder to adjust to, other than just the love that's in the air all the time, is the eating schedule. Well, and the sleeping schedule, but first and foremost, the eating schedule. They eat breakfast before they go to work, so same time we do. But haha, breakfast is not the most important meal of the day. We have all been taught wrong. Apparently it's the least important, and maybe not even a meal. Here they eat teeny little graham cracker cookies and coffee, and that apparently constitutes a meal, and they don't eat again until 2 or 3. I don't know if any of you guys have ever spent a day in the Spanish heat with an entirely empty stomach, but it's not my favorite thing I've ever done. So yeah, that's definitely an adjustment. So yes, everyone eats breakfast, haha, and then they leave work at 2, they go home, they eat lunch, which is the biggest meal of their day, so that's new. And that's when everyone comes home from school, from work, until like 5. So they all eat together, and they eat like a ton, and take a nap. And this is because it's the hottest time of the day, so everybody wants to just be asleep. And I guess sleeping through like the pain of the heat is a pretty brilliant solution. So I mean it makes sense, but it's very different. So they eat lunch, and then they go back to work from like 5 until 8-ish. And then no one eats dinner until 10. It's weird. I just feel like my body clock tells me to start eating at like 7 p.m. the latest, so waiting until 10 is an adventure. And then, because they eat so late, they don't go out until like 1 in the morning. Some, or most bars don't open until 1. So that, for me, as someone who really doesn't go out, and when I do so very tepidly, that's new. And yeah, so they go out, and then what all the Spaniards do is they go out and they wait for the metro to reopen at 6 a.m. to go home, so they don't have to pay for a taxi or anything. I've yet to accomplish this, let's just put it that way. I managed to like 4:15, but yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be waiting for that metro to reopen. We'll see. Oh, more to do with eating. So one thing that's really hard as an exchange student is generally not really knowing how to do anything. I touched on this in the first video, and this trend has continued. Like when you're handed a banana and you have to sit there like paralyzed watching all of your siblings and parents to see, okay, am I allowed to use my hands, or are they going to use their fork and knife to eat this banana? It's draining, I would say. And also, when we're eating this banana, I hope you know, that's as postre, which means dessert. I don't know if we should talk about how bananas don't count as dessert, but yeah. The last thing is a relatively small adjustment I have to make, and that's just that I have to wear shoes in the house all the time. And according to my program director, this is just because Spaniards consider going to bed with dirty feet unhygienic and gross, and that's totally fair. I also think that as well. No one wants to climb into their crisp sheets with like blackened feet. But I'm still at that denial stage of my like cultural adjustment where I feel like maybe if no one wore shoes in the house, all our feet would stay clean when we walk around the house. I don't know. In terms of cultural differences, those are really the only things I can think of that have been like shocking or weird or interesting. But other than that, I mean, we're all adjusting well because Spain is beautiful and we're so lucky to be here. So that's it for cultural differences. And then next I'm just gonna show you, I took a few like super amateur, not at all artful videos of some of the walking tours we went on because we're like super tourists, at least for our orientation. So yeah, I have some videos and I'll put those next so that you can sort of see where I've been walking around and see how beautiful Madrid is. But yeah, until next time. Thank you.